You were not born to simply exist. You were born to rise, to evolve, to awaken the dormant power within you. Every single day, the world places obstacles in your path. Distractions, doubts, fears that whisper reasons to stay the same. And yet, within you, there is something greater. A fire that refuses to be extinguished. A voice that urges you to move forward, to break free from limitation, to step into the life you were meant to live. The ones who rise above the noise, the ones who silence their excuses and face discomfort head-on, are the ones who transform their existence into something extraordinary. The question is, are you ready to become one of them? Life is too short to be spent drowning in hesitation, in cycles of distraction, in a routine that leaves you unfulfilled. Yet most people do exactly that. They chase temporary comforts, avoid the discomfort of growth, and allow fear to dictate their choices. But deep down, they know, you know, that there is more. There is a life waiting beyond the limits of your current mindset. But to reach it, you must be willing to step beyond the boundaries of who you have been and into the unknown of who you could become. When was the last time you put yourself first? Your dreams, your peace, your vision. Not in words, not in fleeting thoughts, but in true, unwavering commitment. What is stopping you from stepping out of the shadows of self-doubt and into the light of your highest potential? The only thing that separates those who succeed from those who do not is a simple truth. They choose to act. They choose to take the first step, no matter how uncertain. They choose to push forward, no matter how difficult. And in doing so, they break free from the chains of hesitation that hold so many others back. Right now, you are closer than ever to your dream, closer than ever to becoming the person you have always envisioned. But the noise of life, the endless cycle of distraction, holds you back. The comfort zone whispers its false promises of safety. The fear of failure paralyzes you, convincing you to wait for a perfect moment that will never come. And yet, each passing day delivers the same undeniable truth. What you do today will shape your tomorrow. The way you spend this moment, the decisions you make, will determine the course of your future. The journey ahead will not be easy, but it will be worth it. Transformation requires sacrifice. It requires a willingness to change your habits, shift your mindset, and embrace discomfort as the price of greatness. Every new day is an opportunity to rewrite your story. Close your eyes and imagine the life you desire. It is not as far as you think, but the distance between where you are and where you want to be will never close on its own. You must take the first step. If you take away just one thing from this, let it be this. You hold the power, no one else. You are not waiting for a sign. You are not waiting for permission. You are not waiting for motivation. You are waiting for nothing, because everything you need is already within you. The only thing left is to act. Watch closely. That is all it takes to change your life forever. Most people spend their entire lives waiting for motivation, waiting for confidence, waiting for a perfect moment that will never come. They convince themselves that tomorrow is a better day to start, that next week will bring more clarity, that next year will finally be their year. And in doing so, they waste the only thing they truly own: time. The harsh truth is, hesitation is the slowest form of self-destruction. It is not a single moment of delay, but a lifetime of postponed dreams. If you do not wake up now, if you do not decide now that enough is enough, you will find yourself at the end of your life wondering where all the time went. And by then, it will be too late. A student once asked his master, "How do I stop procrastinating?" The master led him to a river and pointed at the flowing water. "Jump in," he said. The student hesitated. "It looks cold." The master nodded. "So you will wait?" The student nodded. The master sat down beside the river. Minutes passed, then hours. Finally, the student, frustrated, said, "Master, what are we waiting for?" The master smiled. "For the river to be warm." The student frowned. "But it will never be warm." The master nodded again. "Exactly. And if you wait for the perfect moment, you will never begin." This is the truth. The conditions will never be perfect. You will never feel fully ready. There will always be an excuse, a reason to delay, a voice in your head telling you to wait just a little longer. But those who succeed, the ones who truly change their lives, do not listen to that voice. They act despite fear. They move despite uncertainty. They jump into the river knowing it will be uncomfortable, knowing it will be difficult, but understanding that waiting is not an option, because every second spent in hesitation is a second stolen from the future they could have created. Look around you. Every great achievement, every person who has ever mastered themselves, every success story you have ever admired, none of them began when they felt ready. They began because they refused to wait. They understood that discipline is built in the moments when the mind says stop, but the will says go. They understood that transformation is not something that happens to you, it is something you create. They understood that every time they chose action over hesitation, they were breaking free from the prison of their own mind. And so ask yourself, how much longer will you wait? How many more mornings will you wake up wishing you had started yesterday? How many more times will you tell yourself that someday you will change? Because someday is not coming. Someday is an illusion. The only moment that is real, the only moment that matters, is this one, right now. And in this moment, you have a choice to remain the same, to continue waiting, or to step forward and claim the life you were meant to live. Because here is the reality. There is no secret, no hidden formula, no perfect moment, no divine signal that tells you this is the time to begin. The only secret, the only truth, the only thing that separates the disciplined from the lost is choice. And today, right now, you have that choice in your hands. What will you do with it? There will come a day when you wake up and realize that no one is coming to save you. No one is going to drag you out of bed and force you to chase your dreams. No one is going to hold your hand and walk you to success. No one is going to remove distractions from your path or silence the voice of doubt in your mind. If you do not take control of your own life, no one else will. And that realization, it will either break you or it will set you free. Because the moment you understand that you alone are responsible for your future, everything changes. You stop waiting. You stop looking for permission. You stop allowing hesitation to steal what is yours. You take action, not because it is easy, but because it is the only way forward. A student once asked his master, "How do I stay disciplined when I do not feel like it?" The master handed him a candle and told him to light it. The student obeyed. "Now blow it out," the master said. The student did. The master then handed him another candle, this time unlit. "Now light this one," he instructed. The student reached for a match. The master stopped him. "Number, light it with the flame you just extinguished." The student hesitated. "But master, I cannot. The flame is gone." The master nodded. "Exactly. The moment you kill momentum, it is gone. And you must start from nothing all over again." Most people kill their own momentum. They wake up with energy, with goals, with a fire inside them, and then they extinguish it by choosing distraction over discipline. They start strong, but stop when things become difficult. They make progress, but allow small setbacks to convince them that they should pause, that they should wait, that they should slow down. And then, when they try to start again, they realize that the fire they once had is gone, and they must struggle to reignite it. But those who understand the truth never let the flame die. They protect their discipline like a sacred force. They guard their momentum like a warrior defends his home. They know that every time they hesitate, every time they choose comfort over progress, They are blowing out the flame that took them so long to ignite. And so, ask yourself, how many times have you killed your own fire? How many times have you made progress only to let yourself slip back into old habits? How many times have you started something great only to stop before you saw its full potential? Because the difference between those who succeed and those who fail is not talent, it is not intelligence, it is not luck, it is consistency. It is the refusal to let the flame die. It is the ability to keep moving, even when you do not feel like it, even when everything inside you wants to stop. Look around you, the people you admire, the ones who have built incredible things, the ones who have mastered themselves. They are not superhuman. They are not different from you. They simply made a choice to keep going when others quit, a choice to move forward when others hesitated, a choice to protect their momentum, to guard their fire, to never allow weakness to have control over their actions. And you have that same choice. So what will you do with it? Will you let your fire burn out once again, telling yourself that you will start over later? Or will you refuse to stop, refuse to let weakness win, refuse to let the flame inside you die? Because if you protect your fire, if you guard your momentum, if you commit to your discipline, nothing will ever be able to stop you again. There is one truth that most people refuse to accept. Success is not about talent, luck, or intelligence. It is about repetition. It is about showing up every single day, doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. Most people are searching for shortcuts, for hacks, for an easier way to get what they want. But the ones who truly achieve their goals, the ones who separate themselves from the rest, are not the ones who look for an easy path. They are the ones who put in the work, who sharpen themselves through discipline, who do not need external motivation because they have trained their minds to move forward without it. A student once asked his master, "Why do I struggle to stay disciplined? Why do I always fall back into old habits?" The master handed him a cup of water. "Hold it out in front of you," he said. The student obeyed. At first, it was easy. The cup was light, but as the minutes passed, his arm began to shake. His muscles ached. "Master, it hurts," the student admitted. The master nodded. "Is the cup heavier than when you started?" The student shook his head. "Number, but the longer I hold it, the harder it becomes." The master smiled. "Exactly. This is how weakness works. If you let it remain in your mind, even when it feels small, even when it seems harmless, it will grow heavier over time until it becomes unbearable." Most people allow weakness to linger in their minds. They allow small moments of hesitation, minor distractions, small excuses, thinking they do not matter. But over time, those small moments add up. One day of skipping discipline turns into two. A single excuse turns into a habit. And before they realize it, they have built a life ruled by weakness, not by strength. But those who succeed, those who rise above, are the ones who refuse to let weakness take root in the first place. They do not allow small excuses to grow into habits. They do not tolerate hesitation in their minds. They recognize that discipline is not about giant leaps. It is about consistently choosing strength over weakness, day after day, moment after moment. And so ask yourself, what small weaknesses are you allowing to grow? Where are you making excuses that seem harmless now, but will cost you everything in the future? Because discipline is not built in a single moment of strength. It is built in the hundreds of small choices you make every day. Every time you push forward when you feel like quitting, you strengthen your mind. Every time you reject distraction, you sharpen your focus. Every time you move, even when you do not feel like it, you reinforce the habit of action. And over time, these choices shape you into someone unstoppable. Most people will never do this. They will continue to entertain small weaknesses, continue to allow hesitation to exist in their minds, continue to wait for motivation to push them forward. But those who understand the truth, they take full control. They do not wait. They do not entertain excuses. They move forward, regardless of how they feel, because they understand that feeling is irrelevant. Only action matters. And so, what will you choose? Will you continue carrying the weight of hesitation, allowing it to grow heavier until it crushes you? Or will you drop it now, take full control, and refuse to let another moment of weakness take root in your mind? Because in the end, your future is being built right now, in this very moment. And the only thing that determines where you end up is the choice you make today. There will come a moment when you realize that the battle is not against the world, not against your circumstances, not against the people who doubt you. The battle has always been within you. It is a war between the part of you that craves comfort and the part of you that demands growth. It is a war between hesitation and action, between excuses and discipline, between fear and the unstoppable force that you have the potential to become. Most people lose this war without even knowing they are fighting it. They surrender to distractions, to comfort, to the belief that they have more time. But the few who win, they are the ones who understand the truth. There is no tomorrow. There is only now. A student once asked his master, "How do I overcome my fear of failure?" The master handed him a bow and arrow and pointed at a target in the distance. "Shoot," the master said. The student hesitated. "What if I miss?" The master smiled. "Then shoot again." The student frowned. "But what if I miss again?" The master stepped forward. "Then you keep shooting until you hit." The student nodded, raised the bow, and fired. The arrow missed the target. Frustrated, the student lowered his weapon. The master sighed. "Do you see your mistake?" The student shook his head. The master continued, "Your mistake was never in missing. Your mistake was in stopping. Most people allow failure to break them. They try once, maybe twice, and when they do not see instant results, they stop. They convince themselves that it was never meant to be, that they are not ready, that it is too difficult. And so they settle for a life of mediocrity, not because they lacked potential, but because they lacked persistence. But those who rise, those who build discipline so unshakable that nothing can break them, are the ones who refuse to stop. They fail, and they keep going. They struggle, and they keep pushing. They get knocked down, and they get back up, every single time. The strongest minds are not the ones who never fall. They are the ones who never stay down. They understand that failure is not the enemy. Hesitation is the enemy. Fear is the enemy. The belief that you are not ready is the enemy. Because every second you spend waiting, every moment you spend doubting yourself, every day you delay your progress, you are losing the war within your own mind. You are feeding the weakness, strengthening the part of you that would rather stay comfortable than grow. So ask yourself, how many times have you stopped before you should have? How many times have you walked away from something great because it felt difficult? How many times have you let a temporary failure convince you that you were not meant to succeed? Because those who rise above, those who master themselves, those who build lives that others only dream of, are not the ones who never fail. They are the ones who refuse to stop failing until they win. Most people will never do this. They will continue to stop before they reach the target. They will allow fear to convince them to wait just a little longer. They will keep telling themselves that they will start tomorrow. But those who win, they start now. They move now. They take action, no matter how small, because they know that the war is won not in a single moment of victory, but in the thousands of small battles they fight every single day. And today, right now, you are in one of those battles. Will you take the shot? Will you keep aiming, keep adjusting, keep moving until you hit the target? Or will you put the bow down, walk away, and spend the rest of your life wondering what could have happened if only you had kept going? The choice is yours. But understand this: if you do not decide today, you may never decide at all. The greatest deception people fall for is the idea that they have time, that they can delay, hesitate, and postpone the life they want without consequence, that they can waste days, months, even years, and still expect success to be waiting for them. But time is not something you can pause. It is not something you can negotiate with. Every moment that slips through your fingers is gone forever. And the most painful realization a person can have is looking back and seeing a life half-lived, a life where they could have but never did. A student once asked his master, "How do I find purpose?" The master took him outside and pointed at a tree. "Climb it," he said. The student hesitated, looking at the tall branches. "But master, what if I fall?" The master did not answer. The student continued, "What if I cannot reach the top?" The master remained silent. Finally, frustrated, the student sighed. "Master, I do not understand." The master placed a hand on his shoulder. The moment you asked what if instead of how, you had already decided to stay on the ground. This is what happens to most people. They spend their lives asking what if, instead of moving. What if I fail? What if I am not ready? What if I waste my time? And in doing so, they never start, they never climb, they never take the first step, because they are waiting for certainty, waiting for guarantees, waiting for life to remove all obstacles before they begin. But those who master themselves do not wait for conditions to be perfect. They do not stand at the base of the tree and wonder whether they will succeed. They climb, they move, they take action because they know that hesitation is the only real failure. Most people do not understand that hesitation is a habit. The more you delay, the more comfortable it becomes. The more you wait, the easier it is to keep waiting. And then one day, you look back and realize that you have spent years standing in the same place, never moving, never growing, never becoming the person you were meant to be. And by then, the tree is still there, but you are no longer strong enough to climb it. So ask yourself, how many opportunities have you already let pass you by? How many times have you told yourself that you would start tomorrow? How much longer are you willing to wait before you realize that waiting is the very thing keeping you from everything you want? There will never be a perfect moment. There will never be a time when fear disappears, when doubt vanishes, when hesitation no longer exists. The only way to break free is to move forward anyway, to take the first step, no matter how uncertain, to climb, even if you are afraid of falling, to act, even when you do not feel ready. Most people will never do this. They will stay on the ground, looking up at the life they want, but never reaching for it. They will tell themselves that they need more time, that they need more motivation, that they need something external to push them forward. But those who rise above, those who achieve the impossible, those who leave behind a legacy of discipline instead of regret, they decide, they move, they climb the tree while others are still standing at the base, wondering if they should. So what will you do? Will you keep waiting? Will you let another day slip by, telling yourself that tomorrow is a better day to start? Or will you move now? Will you take action today, knowing that there is no guarantee you will get another chance? Because life does not wait. Success does not wait. The person you want to become is waiting for you to take action. But if you hesitate too long, they may be gone forever. The choice is yours. Climb or stay where you are. But know this, if you do not act today, you are choosing to wait. And if you choose to wait long enough, you may wake up one day and realize that the chance to climb is gone forever. There is a moment in every person's life when they realize that everything they desire, everything they have ever dreamed of, is within reach, but only if they are willing to fight for it. And yet, most people never engage in that fight. They stand at the edge of their potential, staring at the path in front of them, and instead of stepping forward, they turn around. They retreat into comfort. They tell themselves they will try again later. They convince themselves that they need more time, more motivation, more clarity. But the truth is, you do not need more time. You need more action. You do not need motivation. You need discipline. You do not need clarity. You need movement. Because the only way to find the answers you are looking for is to step forward before you feel ready. A student once asked his master, "What is the greatest difference between those who succeed and those who do not?" The master pointed at a burning fire. "What do you see?" he asked. The student watched the flames dance. "A fire, master." The master nodded. "And what happens if I stop feeding it?" The student frowned. "It will die." The master smiled. "Exactly, and that is the difference. Most people do not feed their fire. They let it burn out, waiting for the wind to reignite it. But those who succeed, they build the fire themselves. Every single day, they add fuel to it. They do not wait for someone else to hand them wood. They gather it with their own hands. They strike the match with their own effort. And because of that, their fire never dies. Most people do not build their fire. They wake up each morning hoping that something external will ignite their motivation, that inspiration will find them, that circumstances will align to make their path easier. But those who master themselves do not wait for the right conditions. They create them. They do not hope for motivation. They act without it. They do not wait for inspiration. They become the inspiration. And because of that, nothing can stop them. Nothing can break them. Nothing can extinguish their fire. So ask yourself, how often have you let your fire die? How many times have you allowed doubt to steal your momentum? How many times have you waited for motivation instead of creating it through action? How many times have you let one failure, one bad day, one moment of hesitation convince you to stop? Because the truth is, your fire is your responsibility. No one else will build it for you. No one else will fuel it. No one else will wake up every day and push you forward. If you do not take control of your discipline, your mindset, your habits, then you will live your life watching your fire burn out over and over again, wondering why you never reached the level you were capable of. Most people will never understand this. They will continue waiting. They will continue hoping. They will continue living the same day over and over again, expecting something to change without ever taking action to make it happen. But those who succeed, they decide. They decide to wake up every morning and feed their fire, even when they do not feel like it. They decide to push forward, even when the world is against them. They decide to move, even when hesitation tries to hold them back. And because of that, they do not just succeed, they become unstoppable. So what will you do? Will you let another day pass, waiting for the fire to restart itself? Or will you step forward and build it with your own hands? Because if you do not take action now, you may never take action at all. And the most painful realization a person can have is not that they failed, but that they never even tried. The choice is yours. Let the fire die, or build it until it burns so brightly that nothing, no fear. There will be a day when you look back at your life and see a clear division, the moment you decided to take control, and the moments before it when you allowed hesitation to rule you. Most people never reach that moment of clarity. They spend their lives drifting, waiting for something to change, waiting for life to force them into action. But those who wake up, those who break free from the cycle of procrastination and self-doubt, understand one thing that most never will. There is no future version of you that is more capable than the you that exists right now. There is no stronger, more disciplined, more focused version of you that will magically appear one day. The only way to become that person is to start now, to act now, to make the decision right now that you will never again allow hesitation to control your life. A student once asked his master, "How do I become the person I want to be?" The master led him to a pond and told him to look at his reflection. "What do you see?" the master asked. The student frowned. "I see myself." The master nodded. "Good. Now reach into the water and pull out the man you wish to become." The student hesitated. "Master, that is impossible." The master smiled. "No, it is not. The man you wish to become is already in front of you. You just need to remove the distortion to see him clearly." Most people never remove the distortion. They allow fear, doubt, and hesitation to cloud their reflection. They convince themselves that the person they want to be is far away, that they are not ready to take action, that something is missing. But those who understand the truth know that the future version of themselves is not something they must find. It is something they must uncover. It is already there, waiting beneath the layers of distraction, weakness, and excuses. And the only way to reveal it is through relentless discipline. So ask yourself, what is clouding your reflection? What excuses have you convinced yourself are real? What false limitations have you placed on yourself? How many times have you told yourself you are not ready when the truth is you simply have not decided to move forward? Because the moment you stop believing your own excuses, the moment you remove the distortion, you will see the truth. You have always been capable. You have always had the strength. You have always had the power to take action. The only thing missing was your decision to do so. Most people will never do this. They will spend their lives looking at a distorted reflection, believing that their goals are out of reach. They will allow distractions to cloud their mind, waiting for the day when everything becomes clear. But those who rise, they do not wait for clarity. They create it. They take action before they feel ready. They move before they have all the answers. And in doing so, they uncover the version of themselves that was always there, waiting to be revealed. So the question is simple. Will you keep waiting for the future version of yourself to appear? Or will you take action now, knowing that the only way to become that person is to start today? Because the truth is, you are not searching for something outside of yourself. You are not waiting to be ready. You are not lacking anything. You are already everything you need to be. The only thing left is for you to act like it. There is a silent war happening within you right now, a battle between the part of you that seeks discipline and the part that craves comfort. And with every decision you make, you are choosing a side. Most people don't realize this. They move through life on autopilot, making small, seemingly insignificant choices that feel harmless in the moment. They hit snooze instead of waking up early. They scroll endlessly instead of working on their goals. They choose distraction over progress, procrastination over action. But what they fail to see is that these small choices are not small at all. They are the foundation of everything. They are the bricks that build your future, whether you realize it or not. And the future that you are building, it is either one of strength or one of regret. It is either a life where you have mastered your mind or one where your mind has mastered you. And the truth is, most people are losing this war without even realizing they are fighting it. A student once asked his master, "How do I change my habits?" The master handed him 2 cups of water, one crystal clear, the other filled with dirt. "Drink," the master said. The student hesitated and pointed at the dirty cup. "Master, this one is filled with filth." The master nodded. "Then pour clean water into it." The student did as he was told. He poured clean water into the dirty cup, but the filth remained. "It is still dirty, master," he said. The master nodded again. Then keep pouring. The student continued, pouring more and more clean water, and slowly the dirt began to fade. After several minutes, the water in the cup was completely clear. The master smiled. This is how you change your habits. You do not fight the dirt, you replace it. This is where most people fail. They try to remove their bad habits through willpower alone. They try to resist temptation, to fight distraction, to battle procrastination. But willpower is weak when you have spent years reinforcing the wrong habits. If you truly want to change, you must replace weakness with strength. You must flood your life with discipline until there is no room for excuses. You must fill your mind with focus until there is no space left for distractions. You must take control of your actions so relentlessly that hesitation is drowned out entirely. And the only way to do this is through consistent action, not motivation, not inspiration, not waiting for the right moment, but by taking small steps every single day until discipline becomes your default setting. Most people will never do this. They will continue to pour clean water into a dirty cup, but give up before it becomes clear. They will try to build better habits, but stop the moment it becomes uncomfortable. They will tell themselves they will start tomorrow, not realizing that every delayed action is reinforcing the very habits they are trying to break. But those who succeed, they do not stop pouring. They do not stop training their minds. They do not stop moving forward, even when they feel tired, even when they feel unmotivated, even when the path ahead seems endless, because they understand that repetition is everything. They know that every action is a vote for the person they are becoming, and they refuse to vote for weakness. So ask yourself, what are you reinforcing? What choices are you making today that will define who you are a year from now? What habits are you allowing to control your life? Because the truth is, you are always training. Every action you take is training your mind to be strong or to be weak. And if you are not actively building discipline, then you are passively building excuses. If you are not making yourself better, then you are making yourself worse. There is no in-between. You must decide now. You must choose whether you will pour endlessly until the dirt is gone, or whether you will allow it to settle, convincing yourself that change is impossible. Because the truth is, you are never stuck. You are never beyond redemption. You are never too late to rebuild yourself from the ground up. But the only way to do that is to start now, not tomorrow, not next week. Now, because the sooner you start pouring, the sooner the water becomes clear, and the longer you wait, the darker it gets. Most people live their entire lives waiting for the right moment. They tell themselves that they will start once they feel ready, once they have more time, once they have more motivation. But here is the truth. There is no perfect moment. There is no future version of you that will suddenly be stronger, more disciplined, more focused than the one that exists right now. If you do not take action today, you will not take action tomorrow, because tomorrow is just a repetition of today. The habits you reinforce today will be the habits you live with for the rest of your life. And if you do not take control now, you may wake up years from now realizing that the opportunity to change has already passed you by. A man once came to the Buddha and asked, "Master, what is the biggest mistake people make?" The Buddha replied, "They think they have time." The man frowned. "But Master, we do have time." The Buddha shook his head. "Do you?" The man hesitated. The Buddha continued, "If I gave you gold and told you that you could spend it on anything you want, but once it is gone forever, would you waste it?" The man shook his head. "Of course not." The Buddha smiled. "Then why do you waste time? It is the most valuable thing you have, yet you throw it away as if you can get more." Most people do not understand this. They act as if time is infinite, as if they can delay their goals, their dreams, their discipline without consequence. But time does not wait for you. It does not pause when you hesitate. It does not slow down just because you are afraid. Every second that passes is another second you will never get back. And the biggest mistake people make is believing that they can afford to waste it. But those who rise, those who build something great, they understand that time is their most valuable resource, and so they treat it with the respect it deserves. They do not waste it on distractions. They do not allow hesitation to steal their future. They do not spend their days waiting for the right moment. They make the moment right. So ask yourself, how are you spending your time? Are you building something meaningful, or are you letting it slip away? Are you taking action, or are you convincing yourself that you will start later? Because the truth is,